I love you, but I'm not in love with you anymore. I feel like all of us men have heard that at least once in our lives. And when we have, there's this feeling like your heart got ripped out of your chest or it sinks all the way into your stomach. If you recently heard those words from your wife or partner, it's a devastating feeling of wondering how the woman you love and built a life with could say something so cold and final. But what you need to know is just because she said that phrase does not mean she's done. In this video, I'm going to break down exactly what that phrase actually means when she says it, why your natural instinct to talk it through or try harder always backfires, and what you can start doing instead if you want to reignite her love and attraction and give your marriage a fighting chance. And if you're serious about saving your marriage, I created a free masterclass where I walk you step by step through the exact roadmap I use with men in crisis. The link for that free masterclass is in the description below. When a woman says, I love you, but I'm not in love with you, she's trying to describe an emotional state she can't put into words, other than the ones that punch us right in the gut. She's not really saying she doesn't care. She's also not necessarily saying that she doesn't want the relationship. What it really means when she says, I love you, but I'm not in love with you, is that she doesn't feel the spark of emotional safety, connection, and inspiration that she once felt with you. She's saying she feels more like your roommate than your wife. She doesn't feel emotionally understood or inspired, like I mentioned, and she doesn't trust you with her deeper feelings anymore. Why this is so misunderstood by men is because most women don't actually know how to explain properly to their man. So most women won't just say, I feel emotionally unsafe with you, or I don't feel your presence as a man anymore. Instead, they reach for the only phrase that captures the emptiness that they feel, which is, I love you, but I'm not in love with you. It's not really her fault that she doesn't explain it where she defines clearly that she doesn't feel emotionally safe with you. But because of that, when men hear those horrible words, we immediately react in a way that sends the marriage or relationship towards the edge of destruction. Obviously, it is a painful shock to hear those words. So as men, we generally say, but look at everything I do for you, or we built this family together, isn't that enough? Or if you just tell me what to do, I will go and fix it. And to be honest, there are some women out there who actually do understand these concepts and will tell you what they want, but oftentimes men do not know how to execute the leadership in the relationship. So what that does is it frustrates her even more. You have to understand though, when she says, I love you, but I'm not in love with you, she's not making a logical argument or a rash decision. She's revealing an emotional disconnection that she feels, even if she isn't able to explain it properly, like I mentioned. Ask yourself this, if she doesn't feel safe opening up to you emotionally, does it really matter how many times you tell her you love her, or how hard you try to remind her of your history together and everything you've built? She doesn't feel it, and feelings drive connection. Facts don't. When men hear that dreadful phrase, and I know from experience, absolute panic sets in. When my ex-fiance told me she loved me, but was no longer in love with me, right after we got back from a nice luxury vacation in Mexico that I booked because I thought it would help our relationship, I went into the all-out panic mode. I started making moves that made perfect logical sense to me, but all it did was continue to suffocate her and push her further and further away. And out of that panic, as men, we start to make moves that, again, make sense to us, but just like my ex-fiance, feel suffocating to her. I would try to launch into endless conversations and just convince her of my love for her, and she's making a mistake by doing this. I would write her long texts and just basically pour all my feelings out, hoping that if she could just listen to how much I loved her, it's gonna reignite that spark in her for us. Most men tend to do something similar, and if it's not those moves, like the ones I did, they do the opposite where they just get angry at her, and that's clearly not gonna help the situation at all. The reality is, every single one of these moves we make as men communicates the same thing to her internal nervous system, which is, I'm not strong enough to hold steady unless you reassure me that everything is great. And the counterintuitive aspect of it is, the more you push for reassurance, the more pressure she starts to feel on her shoulders, and that desire for you completely eradicates in her. Think about it this way. If someone is drowning, they start to flail and cling to anything, but the desperate clinging actually drags both people down. It's the same thing for your relationship. That's exactly why Kate didn't let Leo hang on to the floating piece of wreckage in Titanic. So when we act like this as men, she feels fear and desperation from us. She doesn't feel strength. So as much as our intention is to make her fall back in love with us as fast as possible, it does not work that way. Fear doesn't make her fall back in love. It makes her retreat even further. And one thing you need to know is it takes time for a woman to fall out of love with you, just like it takes time for her to develop feelings for you. So you can't just snap her feelings back in love with you by panicking and showering her with your love. This is why I put together the free masterclass, because unless you learn how to shift out of panic and into grounded leadership, every move you make right now will likely backfire. The link's below in the description. So, gifts, words, fancy vacations to bribe her emotions like I did. I wasn't trying to bribe her, but that's ultimately what it seemed like. And logic don't work. So what does? It's about becoming more of a leader in the relationship. You need to learn how to ground yourself emotionally. When she says things that feel cold or pulls away from you, being able to maintain that stability signals to her exactly what she's looking for. You also need to learn to stop trying to over-explain your point of view as if you can just get her to understand your explanation. The sun's going to be shining great on the relationship. Most men dig themselves into holes by trying to make her understand. This is a fallacy, and respect comes from living your standards, not convincing her of anything. You also have to reconnect with your masculine presence. This means being steady enough that she feels both free and secure in your presence. When your wife says, "I love you, but I'm not in love with you," what she's really expressing is that she doesn't feel the polarity or that spark and the safety that she needs to surrender her heart back to you. And that only changes when she experiences a man who doesn't collapse in the face of her distance. The moment you stop needing her reassurance is the moment she can finally feel drawn back to you. Because then she's not responding to watching you panic. She's responding to you showing up in your masculine strength. She starts to feel that safety and polarity that was previously lost when you were acting a certain way. And that's when she starts feeling closer and closer to you. This is not accomplished out of guilt or presenting all your logical points like a spreadsheet. It's accomplished out of desire because you show up as a leader and she feels that internally. So ask yourself, what would it look like today to show up from strength instead of fear? Not next month, not after she comes around, but today, starting today. You don't have to be a perfect man overnight, but if you are hearing those dreaded words from her or something similar to it, you're at a fork in the road. The first path is the spiral. More fear, more confusion, and just more chasing after her. And that path almost always ends in separation or divorce and a hell of a lot of emotional and financial toll. Path 2 is the rebuild. This is grounded clarity, stepping into your emotional leadership and becoming the man she can feel safe choosing again. If you're serious about getting on that second path, stopping guessing what works, and becoming the man who leads the relationship forward, I built that masterclass just for you. This is not about manipulation. It's not about memorizing scripts or fancy lines or sending the right text message. And it's not about waiting for her to change her mind or just hoping she comes around. As my favorite saying is, hope is not a strategy. This is about becoming the man to lead your relationship and overall life forward to a thriving state. So click the link below in the description now if you are struggling in your marriage. Again, you don't need to be perfect. You don't have to have all the answers, but you do need to stop reacting from fear and start leading from strength. So here's what I want you to take away from today. I love you, but I'm not in love with you doesn't mean there's no hope. It means the way you've been showing up isn't inspiring her trust and desire anymore. But that can change, only if you start leading in your relationship. So if you're ready to become the man who can guide your marriage out of crisis, watch that masterclass now. If this video spoke to you, please hit like, subscribe to the channel, and drop a comment sharing your story. You're definitely not alone in this. I'll see you in the next episode.